So Ritesh is a key member of the leadership team in the group New Gen, and he's a subject matter expert in banking and financial services, insurance and shared services industries, with a strong technical expertise in workflow management, information management, and digital automation tools. Ritesh, the floor is yours, and please go ahead and introduce yourself and your panelists, please. Please, Ritesh.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi. My name is Ritesh. I look after business consulting at Newgen. I have an esteemed team member set with me, Mr. Yusuf from ADNIC, sir. Mr. Khalid from CBD, Mr. Mahesh from HCL. He's traveled all the way from Netherlands. Mr. Sridhar from Oman Insurance, and Mr. Imran from Bank Misr. So quite an involved team that we have today. Well, we were expecting more audience, but it's nice to have you here. And for the next 40-45 minutes, we'd be discussing on various aspects of the digital transformation and how it's working.
Oh, you want to sit there?
Oh, okay, there's a chair for me as well. Thank you. So, what we'd be discussing on is how digital is affecting all of us, how things are changing. It's an kind of overarching thing. So, before we start, I'd like the panelists to do a quick round of introductions for themselves, and we'll take it forward from there. Sir.
Hi. Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you for having me here. My name is Sridhar Suragavani. I'm the CIO for Oman Insurance. I've been in the insurance industry for almost 25 years now. I've worked across 3 continents, and I'm sure the discussion is going to be interesting for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, and hi, Ritesh, and hi everyone. My name is Khalid Al-Hamadi. I look after the distribution and sale in Commercial Bank of Dubai. I've been a banker throughout my career, 25 years also. I worked in multiple banks, including HSBC and FAB prior to joining CBD. Thank you.
Hello, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yusuf Amin. I am the Executive Vice President for Consumer Claims and Operations at Abu Dhabi National Insurance Company. We are one of the largest composite insurer in this market and currently have more than 20% of market share. I've been with ADNIC for the past 5 years, and I'm looking forward to having a useful discussion.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Mahesh Subramanian here. I'm the Global Industry Principal from HCL Technologies. The odd one out, I'm from an IT services firm, global IT services firm, corporate banker, investment banker, last 20 plus years in IT. Now I'm responsible for digital and cloud transformation for financial services clients. Great to be here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Imran Kanuti. I'm heading PMO office for Bank Misr, operating from Dubai. And I look towards the project's implementation for UAE as well as for international in African countries as well as in Europe. So since in the morning you have seen me from that side, so now it's time for me to take a chair from this angle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So what we'll be discussing on today is that how digital has changed and probably how new technologies have started to evolve. In fact, if you look at it, digital transformation has been a buzzword for many of us as we move forward, and it has affected everyone. So digital transformation, digital experience, and everything of those sorts is something that we keep on discussing. But how has it changed for us on a day-to-day basis, and how is it affecting us all? I think let's hear it from the panelists because they've been in the industry, they've been kind of tackling it. Mr. Sridhar, do we start with yourself?
Sure, Ritesh. I think if I have to start with, I would start qualifying digital as pre-COVID and post-COVID. So while we all have worked in this industry for long, the narrative for digital before COVID was revolving around customer experience, return on investment, and how we can be agile in the market to launch the product so we can maintain our competitive advantage. So that was a narrative pre-COVID. But post-COVID, it has not only become very important, but every organization, irrespective of your budget or your capability to spend money, had no choice but to adopt digital to meet customer requirements. And that narrative has moved away from customer experience return on investment to pure customer experience. And return on investment, trust me, I have worked with many boards in my life. To get a budget pre-COVID for any digital transformation was calling for multiple reviews, both internally and externally, and a lot of CIOs have lost their hair, including me. So, post-COVID,
Including me as well.
yeah, you lost more than me. But post-COVID, trust me, the same boards were ready with blank checks. I would say, while pandemic was bad for many reasons, but in one way, it also helped people to realize the need for digital experience, and most of the investments have flown in, and the role of a CDO became so important, and the chair he got at the board has also have helped in defining some groundbreaking transformational initiatives. And I would say collectively, speaking on behalf of everybody here, in the post-COVID digital world, I believe the customers are placed at the heart of every decision, and people started talking the real digital language called reimagination, rather than lifting and shifting from your legacy to the new platforms. That has opened a Pandora box for a lot of service providers, a lot of innovators to come with a lot of new technologies which are not only capable of supporting remotely, but also address the agility needs of the market when it comes to the product launches.
For sure. Very well articulated, sir. Mr. Khalid, you are responsible for sales and distribution. How did technology affect yourself?
So let me add to what Sridhar said, because true, the pre and post-COVID things have changed. I think the joke was always that probably the best role that was created is this whole COVID thing, because besides the CEO and the CEO, it's the COVID thing that changed our life and enhanced our digital capability. But I think I'll put a different spin to it. From a customer experience point of view, or from a user experience point of view, the way things have evolved and the customer expectations have changed is phenomenal. In the past, those of you who remember, if you wanted to travel, you would go to a travel agency, you sit, you buy tickets, you have those slips, parts, and then you go to the airport, and you take one part, and then you take the other part, and then return back. I still have my travel agent from 20 years ago, and the guy hates me because I never call him. I stopped calling him because all I need to do is just get my phone, book my flight, book my hotel, book my tours, and also book my restaurants if I wanted to. And I don't have to deal with anybody. So the journey has changed, and the user experience and the user expectations have changed. And let me add one more thing. The level of patience have changed. The new generation, we talk about generation X, Y, Z, now Alpha, Beta. These are probably my 9-year-old kid. They don't have patience. They are not patient. They want things that are quick, fast, and efficient. And if we don't think along those lines, somebody else from their generation is going to think, and they'll take your business before you know it. So that's my input into this.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I mean, just to add to that, I mean, I think definitely the intent has changed pre and post-COVID. So pre-COVID, there was a lesser appetite for companies, especially the insurance sector, to invest as much in technology. You had only the top 5, top 10 companies actually investing in technology. But post or during COVID, what we've seen is that companies have been forced to get onto the digital transformation bandwagon. And I hope for all of our sakes that they consider this as an irreversible act, because at the end of the day, digital is a full-time commitment. And what I've seen is that a lot of our customers are expecting that to happen. But at the same time, one of the obstacles or the headwinds that we're facing now is that a lot of companies are actually now stepping back, because they found that with things having normalized, and of course board direction or intent getting slightly diluted, a lot of companies are not investing in digital as much as they should. That being said, at Adnic, look, we have a pretty straightforward roadmap in terms of digital. What happened during COVID sort of acted as a major catalyst for us to further invest in digital. But at the same time, look, I mean, a lot of it depends on the target customers that you have. Digital is definitely the way forward, the way technology is being introduced into this market, and it's technology that works. 10, 20 years back, the same technology was not as easily acceptable or workable as far as companies were concerned. But now, with the introduction of new technology and with use cases which are occurring across the world, whether it's at a global, regional, or local level, we see that this sort of technology actually works and gives us the right sort of benefits, whether it's in terms of cost optimization, whether it's in terms of revenue generation. So there is a big contributing factor to what's happening in this market due to technology. And it's, I think, also an important point for companies, especially listed companies in this market, to assess their digital plans, because profitability is on the decline. We've had close to 29% decrease in profitability on a year-to-year basis as far as the listed insurance companies are concerned. At the same time, there's close to 10% growth in overall premiums. But what it means is that while technology is being used probably for revenue generation, there is a lot of scope for cost optimization. And I think there are tools in this market that can, deliver what is being intended. And I think, again, we should not lose sight of the fact that this, again, is a very good and opportune time for us to invest in technology.
So Mahesh, I'll just come back to you before we hear, let's hear Mr. Imran kind of talk to it about the transformations that you're doing in your bank.
Okay, shall I? Okay. So first I would like to put some words on the digital transformation, how it has changed our life. So I echo what Sridhar and our other colleagues have said on the DAS. See, how I can see the digital transformation has changed our life is, I can see before COVID, it's a chapter 1. We were all in the digital world, we were using a lot of digital applications. But after COVID, I can see this as a chapter 2. Because before COVID, it was an option for customers as well as for the firms to choose the digital transformation in their organizations for their applications, to be seamless operational efficiency or proper products to be launched. But post-COVID, it has not left us any option. It's a no-brainer option as the current situation is concerned. So what I can see is digital transformation is really helping all the companies now. But how it has impacted, I can see there are 2 people who are drastically impacted with digital transformation. One is the customer, the way how he interacts with the application, and second is the IT leadership. So IT leadership is one of the area where I can see the change has impacted them a lot, because it has made this IT leadership to really think in a different way to ensure the services are delivered without any disturbance. So it helped them to put a proper strategy in a very lesser time, put a lot of applications to be converted into digital, and they made the customer's life easy. Also, at the same time, they made all the applications running without any downtime. So I have worked with a couple of IT leaders where they have spent significant amount of time giving valid decisions to the leadership team, converting a lot of applications which are not in the digital format, not having proper automation. So all these things have been converted under digital platform. So definitely today, if we can see in what world we are living under digital transformation, definitely we are living in a much influential environment, and a lot of things has been changed for all of us. Today, for example, a customer has become very smarter than everyone. He don't want to walk into a branch. He don't want to have a service over the phone call. He wants everything on the palm. So he is expecting everything to be digital, and he wants every service to be happening just like that. So definitely digital transformation, at least for the financial industry sector, it is very, very important. It is no more a choice. It is definitely a mandatory these days.
Mahesh, the reason why I kind of skipped yourself was because I think you've been preaching going digital much more aggressively than any one of us. But where do you see digital and cloud and all those aspects that you kind of talk about being really, really useful for you?
firstly, I completely want to resonate with the panel that COVID was a moment of truth, right? You know what happened with number of banks, how resilient they were, and we from a service provider side, still we recall how many congratulatory messages that came because they said, well, we did not even know things were down. Right? So that was a moment of truth, and I would echo with what Yusuf said. I hope we don't go back. Yeah, I'll just give you a data point. Digital is so pervasive now, right? We sometimes tend to use the word a little loosely, okay? All the service provider firms before COVID, in our balance sheet, we used to publish something called as digital revenues, okay? 20% of our revenues were digital services and all, but last 2 years that stopped because most of the revenues are digital. Most of them are digital. In fact, you know, our company, working with, you know, a number of clients, we realized that this is also pervasive, that we called it digital at scale. And basically this digital at scale has kind of 3 layers, so to speak. There is the digital foundation, which has got your cloud and your cloud scale technologies, on demand, elastic, right? You know, kind of stuff. That's the digital foundation. Then you have digital business services. That's where I think Saud had a brilliant presentation this afternoon on how do you do modular stuff, whether it's API, microservices, data lakes, you know, all your, you know, stuff that you can think that you can compose a digital enterprise. And then the digital operations, right, which is not only the channels and how you consume, it's also on things like low code and all that stuff, right? So what we believe is every organization, right, is pivoting towards, you know, what someone really called as a total digital enterprise, right? It is so pervasive, and what we are seeing is, you know, once you're digital, of course, there is a place for phygital as well, because, you know, there is the need to engage with customers. But once you're onto this bandwagon, you want to create a total digital enterprise that is bent on continuous modernization. So it's all pervasive, you know, and it's got a certain flywheel effect, which we are beginning to see, which is going to really, really reap a lot of benefits.
Thanks, Mahesh. I think the need of the hour is to do things in an agile manner, do things on something which is quick to change and things like that. And that's when you can actually address the changing goalposts. I think Mr. Sridhar, Mr. Yusuf, you've been in the art of doing such things. Where do you feel low code, agility, and all these things come in from a transformation perspective?
See, let us go back to e-commerce bubble. Why did e-commerce bubble burst? Because it was too early to think of that solutioning and that journeys with not having the power of the data, the power of the internet speed, the power of cloud, the power of low code, the power of zero code, the power of data lakes. I can go on and on and on. While the thinking was right, the customer was at heart, but the technology and the ecosystem was not ready for that kind of propositions way back in 2000. The blessing we all have who are in the technology space now is people have learned a lot from the bubble burst. People have realized before you think of any customer journey, look at whether you have the right tool set, look at whether you have the right solutions, which can marry and deliver the outcome you envisage to deliver. So now if I fast forward from 2000 to 2015, people started investing heavily in cloud technology, and trust me, but for cloud technology, every organization on this planet would have failed during COVID. Because it was technology, it was cloud power, which helped majority of us to support our end customers. So in that journey, now we are blessed. We have a lot of solution providers who are innovating at a pace which is allowing people like me, Yusuf, who are facing customers day to day, to think of the propositions, to put ourselves in the shoes of customer and reimagine the journeys, harvesting the power of technology to deliver the outcome, which is a win-win. So in that aspect, I have personally experienced the power of low code and zero code in the last 4 years. While in a typical insurance industry, I have seen a product getting launched in 2 to 3 years, sometimes 5 years. From that cycles of 2 to 3 to 5 years cycles, now we have come into, if not weeks, into months. So we are launching products on the platforms of cloud, harvesting the power of zero codes and low codes. We can think of a product strategy, we can do the MVP, and we can go with a launch in weeks. And true to that word low code, as well as zero code, I had an opportunity in this market to launch products for the first time in cloud in 2019. Coincidentally, it was a new gen product, motor claims automation. This was pre-COVID. So when I'm talking about launching products during COVID, we were lucky in our strategy where we had a cloud-first strategy and a customer-first strategy. We embarked on a cloud journey in 19 itself. So during COVID, when most of the industry was struggling, we were lucky enough to leverage the power of cloud to launch products during peak COVID. Again, thanks to the power of technologies. So the use case for low code and zero code is no more a buzzword in the board. It has become a necessity for technology leaders. And if you don't adopt these latest technologies, like Khalid said, you would be out of your market before even you can realize. So definitely low code, zero code are a blessing for technology leaders. And with the power of cloud being married into it, it is allowing most of the people in this room and all the leaders who are working in technology space to give the better and superior experience to customers, but not which is in months, but in weeks.
Mr.
Absolutely. So I'll concur with what Sridhar is saying, because look, I think that the traditional approach has always been that, look, invest in a core system, okay, and make that do everything, right? And having the view from both sides of the wall, whether it's from a banking or from an insurance side, what we've seen is that from a banking perspective, there's always this inclination to work on satellite systems and let basic things being done by the core system and let digital transformation and digital fulfillment happen through the satellite systems. And I think something similar is happening on the insurance side as well, where we've seen that the introduction of low-code platforms is actually making deliveries much faster. Projects that used to run into 24, 36 months are now getting delivered in less than 10 months or less than 12 months. And I think that's something reflective of the dynamic nature of the demands of our customers. We're able to deliver these services faster. And the good thing is that they can be horizontally expanded across various parts of the organization, whether it's the business side of the puzzle or, of course, the service side. And again, like I said, from our own personal experience with working with a very reliable partner, we've seen that introducing low-code platforms is a win-win situation for everyone. It makes sure that we're able to deliver end-to-end services to our customers in a faster time. And it allows us to further expand it internally. So, I mean, look, there's no doubt that this is the way forward. And like what I earlier mentioned, that now we see technology that actually works, right? So whether it's machine learning or RPA programs or IoT programs that you launch within the organization, these solutions work. Of course, there is an important thing that we need to understand in terms of the volumes that are required, in terms of the business case that needs to be prepared. But at the end of the day, given the right environment, these technologies can work. But at the same time, it's also important that the overall ecosystem needs to change, because there are a lot of dependencies in terms of what we do and what the customers expect, and there is a bridge that needs to be overcome, because there is an ecosystem that we need to invest in, and I think connected systems is definitely something that would be very helpful for the industry and very helpful for our customers, because a lot of time processes get complicated because systems are not connected. And I hope we can do that. We've got a very supportive regulator, the central bank, that is obviously playing its role in helping the industry to grow. And hopefully this will give the right cue to companies to embrace digital as we go forward.
Ron, you had it.
Regarding the zero code platform, what Sridhar and Praveen has, one thing I have observed in my business practice under the challenge we see under the digital transformation is the scarcity of the skill set. So the entire region is actually facing the challenge of having a proper skill set who are required to complete the digital transformation journey. While some companies are really blessed where they are having a complete buy-in from senior management and they are ready to invest a handsome amount on the vendors and bring the right talent to the company and deliver the modules. But what's happening after the digital transformation projects are delivered? We still need the dependency on the resources is not going to end because changes are inevitable. They keep on coming. So whenever we have changes, we really again depending on the same talent. So I think under the digital transformation strategy, the zero code or no code platform should be one of the key pillars that should be considered so that the dependency of these resources should be eliminated as much as we can.
Perfect. Thanks, Imran. In fact, very correctly put, Mr. Sridhar, that we are all living in an age of digital storm. So as to storm to happen, you need the right wind speed, moisture, pressure, and everything to come place. And the storm to happen. Similarly, I think from a digital perspective, we have the right technologies, the bandwidth, the storage, the infrastructure available to make it happen. I think we all need to kind of understand that we need to go through it. So, Mr. Khalid, what's your take on it? Your playbook on making this happen?
See, we should be looking, or we started looking at what we are good at. I'll give you a simple example. One of the audience that I interacted over lunch with said, listen, I like your account opening journey. Took me a few clicks and a few minutes to get my account number and my IBAN. So if you know what you're good at, if that is a journey that takes minutes to do from end to end, and we know our strength in the products and the services we offer it, do more of it, and make sure that when it comes to the client experience part, you make it simple, you make it available, you make it digitally enabled, and don't think only from the user experience point of view also. Look at it from the efficiency point of view, in a sense that it has to be an end-to-end journey. There is no point of doing it right only, but then at the back end, you will have some flaws, because at the end of the day, that's the whole thing. It's as good, a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So in summary, look at your core strength and make sure you do more of it, and make sure that it is available and easily accessible to your clients.
Mahesh, how are you supporting this execution of the playbook that the banks and the financial institutions have? What's the role that service providers like yourselves are playing into the overall game?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have been partners in crime with many of our clients in the digital transformation journey, and often our approach is to kind of put in our skin in the game, right? So one of the key questions that's asked of us is, how do we help on outcomes, right? Not just giving services or just giving, people. So commercially, like we believe big time in Agile, because squads deliver results and also on outcomes. So a lot of clients, we work on squads. The second thing is, again, to the topic of, zero code, no code. If you, observe closely, people in automation, right, in some ways are zero sum, right? The more you're able to have a good blend of automation and resources, owning outcomes, that gives two things: better results, second, the ability to scale, right? So in most of the transformation, that we work, we always work closely with our clients to make sure it's more agile-based, delivery, right? The second is we get into a construct where we are able to put our skin in the game so that we help in the outcomes, just not providing capabilities. So that's very key, right? Because at the end of the day, I think we all know, deep inside us, that digital is a means to an end, and the end is business transformation. If you're not able to drive business transformation home so that the business itself is agile, then I think digital, as Sridhar, you said, is a tick in the box, right? So it's key that, we as service providers help and also commit to business outcomes. So automation, working on agile, right? And then, working on squads. are two or three typical things that we do, how to help digital transformation.
Thanks, Manish. Well, if you look at it, we've talked about the customer experience being the key. But after all, business needs to kind of look at the costs. So at one side, the customer experience exists, and we are all working towards it, and we all acknowledge it. But on the other side, we also need to balance the cost, which is towards operations. So how do we kind of balance the two things out? Or probably, while digital transformation is being talked about from an experience perspective, how do we kind of make it executed into the operational excellence and make both of them to kind of balance each other out? Mr. Khalid, Mr. Sridhar, your thoughts on it, because you actually are responsible for it.
Okay, see, the toughest thing for any technology provider or for any service provider now is to benchmark what is customer experience. So like Mr. Khalid said, what was customer experience accepted yesterday is no more relevant today or tomorrow. Why? The technology is evolving at a speed we are not able to catch up. So let me take a different view on this. Let me talk from an insurer's perspective. 15 years back, when I was in UK, if I can send a document by digital channel, was a customer experience. I'm serious. Why? Those days we used to ship the documents through postal. And it used to take 2-3 days. When we have digitized it and when we have sent the documents online, it was an experience. It was a differentiator. So like this, in each industry, the customer experience has been evolving and we can't try to benchmark it. But what has been constant is the excellence. Excellence, the moment you define that and if you can nail it correctly, that is done. So let me now put these two into perspective. I will give a simple use case. Typically, in any insurer, you're all drivers, you drive your cars. Every year when you go for your renewal, you want to see your premium going down because you have been a very conscious driver, you don't have a claim, and you expect the insurer to reward you with a lesser premium. But the challenge for insurer is insurance itself is to cater to the unplanned risk. So we work on averaging. So now the challenge is, how am I going to keep my customer happy? How am I going to reward my customer for behaving properly and trying to have no claim? At the same time, support a customer who had an unplanned incident. There comes excellence. So for insurers to maintain that price point and to give the best experience, we have to reinvent, reimagine every day to see how we can bring in that operational efficiency into our operation. At the same time, don't miss on the customer experience. So at least in the last 4 years, I was happy that we could reimagine the journeys for my customer. We have tried giving them the best possible customer experience when it comes to motor. Let me give a simple example. When I joined this company, I realized a motor claim process. Let us say we process around 60,000 motor claims. The journey was, in an unfortunate incident for a person on the road, he has to call my call center and then pass on all the details to my call center. Then my call center have to refer which garage is free for him to take the car to. Then the garage the car is given. Then my surveyor may go after 1 day or 2 days to assess the damage. All this is not an experience for customer. And then after that, my surveyor has to come back with all the photos, upload into system. Then the approvals comes, negotiation with the garage started. All this was a worst experience for a customer who was expecting the experience to be superior. So this was a journey thrown at us. And we had 3 elements into it. One is the operational efficiency. How can I reduce my turnaround time for a claim? How can I give my customer the car at a speed which he would appreciate? Can I bring in some technology into it? Can I bring in some automation into it? Can I bring in some machine learning into it? At the same time, how can I educate my garage to deal with my customer with the first notification of loss at the garage itself rather than he calling call center? Fast forward, we delivered this. 95% of our claims now stops at a garage. with a first notification of loss done at a garage because we have integrated that with our low-code system. Number two, any claim which is less than X amount is auto-approved. That means before even the customer leaves the garage, the approval is there. Look at the experience he's getting. Look at the operational excellence, wherein I have freed up my operations team from doing this mundane task. They can focus on high ticket items to give the experience to customer. And net, after all this journey, the net promoter score, what we normally try to track, moved from 42 to 62. Why? The customers appreciated their entire reimagination. They appreciated that we have taken the pain away from them, gave the best possible experience. While that experience was given to customer, from an operational excellence, we also allowed our people who were doing mundane tasks of taking the photos, taking the paper prints, scanning. We took almost 35% of that population away from that mundane task, and we have rebadged them to do something high quality in this digital age for them to upgrade themselves. So for me, customer experience is not something which we can define and it will be stagnant. No, it is not. It is evolving. But if we can think the operational excellence and also think from customer view, then the proposition you can give back to customer would be absolutely different and they would appreciate it. And at least in our case, we have seen that reflected in the NPS from 42 to 62. We not only saved money, we had a good return on investment, but also that also encouraged my board to look at more propositions because they could see the result in front of their eyes. So my suggestion is don't take customer experience in isolation. Customer experience without marrying with your operational efficiency, I would say, would be half done.
Ritesh, if I add, I want to go back in time in 2001, so please don't guess my age. When we first launched internet banking in my previous organization, and at that time, the journey was the client will fill in the details online, and there is a paper drop that goes to our operations center, and somebody's going to pick it up and manually do it, and then spot value. In 2 days' time, the money reaches the destination. Today, last week, I sent $300 to India on a weekend on our app. By the time I clicked send, and I'm dead serious, 2 minutes later, the beneficiary sent me the SMS confirmation that the money in his account on a weekend. So look at how things have evolved. If you have seen, those of you who have seen the Back to the Future movie, I'd like to get into a time machine and go 25 years ahead of time, and I want to see what will happen. Because everything we probably are talking about is going to be obsolete. And new disruptions and new things are going to come up, and things are going to be revolutionized in a way that whatever we're talking about is no longer exist. The other piece that I want to add to what Sridhar mentioned, now the decision is more and more with the customer, with the client. They know what they want. We leave it to them. They're the better ones who can give you the right answer as to what you want. Don't second guess. Don't assume if he is in his mid-40s, got 3 kids, lives this area, then that's what the product he wants. Life has changed. Give it back to them. Let them go and experience the journey that you put in front of them so they decide what they want to do with the product and the offering you offer to them. So expectations have changed. The digital is no longer about saving cost and increasing shareholder returns. It is about efficiency in a way that the client feels the difference and you're differentiating your offering in comparison to your competition. And always look out. Basically, disrupt the disruptors. Don't let somebody else come and disrupt your business, and then you'll be regretting that you didn't invest a little more 2 or 3 years ago, where you could have done it much better than the disruptors themselves.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for that. So we touched upon 2 aspects. Customer experience, obviously it cannot go without the operational excellence being there in place. The third element is the continuous improvement, which Mr. Sridhar talked about, the business innovation part of it. And I think AI, ML is coming in a big way to aid that as well. So, Mr. Yusuf, what's your take on it? How do you see that to happen and change the overall landscape?
I think it has already changed the landscape for a lot of insurers because we deal with a lot of data, and given the amount of data that's getting generated, it's huge. Investing in an RPA program or machine learning is key to at least many insurers. We, of course, are in the health space as well, and we unlike a lot of players in this market, we actually have our own in-house claim team, and of course we process a huge amount of claims, and fortunately we invested in a machine learning tool at the right time, which allows us to automate more than 60% of the internal processing that we're doing. But I think it's, going back to an earlier point related to this, is that I think it's whenever companies go on a digital first agenda, it's not just about digitizing, it's about digitization, right? It's about improving efficiencies in the processes, because at the end of the day, it is going to give a positive vibe across the organization. It will give a positive results to internal and external stakeholders, because at the end of the day, we have to look at initiatives both from cost optimization as well as customer experience perspective as well. So there's a fine balance that needs to be done. Obviously, you need to ensure that you're not investing in technologies that are ultimately going to be too expensive to sustain. And the fact is that given the breadth of players out there in the market and the type of technologies available, that is never a major issue. Like I said, we've invested in a machine learning program which is now in its third year, and it's giving us all the right results. And I think we're seeing a lot of adoption of these tools by various companies in the market, and I think it's going to give all the right results.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, I go back to my example. As a motor insurer, when you come for your renewal, you're expecting me to reduce your premium. But as an insurer, I have to ensure that I'm doing what is right for my customers. Not only one customer, but all customers. So for me, in my playbook, AI ML is one important tool set, which is helping me to take decisions automatically, at the same time address my efficiency factor, and that translating into the end result of how I can reduce the cost and pass back the benefits to my end customer. Let me give two examples here. In that motor claim story, what I explained you, the way we could auto-approve certain minor repairs less than X was leveraging the power of AI ML. I am not having the humans behind to articulate whether this particular scratch is going to cost me 4,000 dirhams. No, we have brought in the technology into it. Now, if I have to extend that to medical claims, which is going to be the biggest spend, I'm sure each one of you know the advantage of having a medical insurance, and you respect that more when you go for a claim. But how to identify the true claim, how to identify the fraudulent claim? As I explained you, we have a good driver and a bad driver, we have a good patient and a bad patient. But unfortunately in insurance, however much we invest in technology, to arrest that fraudulent behavior is becoming a pain. That is where we are investing heavily to see how we can harvest the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning, which can learn on its own to identify the patterns before it happens. Normally what happens in any insurance industry, I'm sure many of you know this, and same is true in banking, it was post-event. That means somebody have claimed, it has been approved, then auditing happens, then you have to go recoup that money from your providers or the pharmacies. Look at the pain you go through. And because of that, there is a negative impact on the cost next year. Because the claim ratio has gone up, I am not able to give you the best premium next year. Because I have to pass on that cost to you people, the customers. So AI ML is playing a very pivotal job in this entire exercise to bring in that efficiency, arrest the fraud, at the same time give the end customer the value for money by giving them the right premiums. So AI ML for me, not only for insurance, it is a blessing in disguise, wherein we are trying to identify the patterns before it happens, arrest the frauds, and then pass the benefits realized to end customer. So it's a win-win for both the providers and the customers.
Perfect. Mr. Khalid, Imran had something to say, and we'll come back to you.
Just I would like to share one of the recent market survey report on customer experience and with a combination of artificial intelligence. It was quite interesting. What I understood is many organizations in the region, they are in confused state to understand what to pick between a virtual assistant and a chatbot. While both of these two tools contribute to the customer experience under the umbrella of conversational artificial intelligence, but still some companies didn't get exactly where it has to be used. Some are using chatbot instead of virtual assistant and vice versa. I think identifying the right tool and technology is very much important for a proper customer experience to be established.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mr. Khalid, you were saying something.
I just wanted to add, I think Sharida made a very valid point about the claims and how they work and how things are in comparison to the past. I'll just be very brief in thinking and just sharing what my views are on analytics. Analytics is no longer give me your mobile number, give me your email address, and let me bombard you with SMSs and emails that all of you, including myself, delete them or spam them. Analytics is about doing what the customer wants you to. You need to think on behalf of the customer. Once, about a year ago or so, I searched for a name of a TV series on Netflix, but a year and a half ago or so. A month ago, I got a notification on my phone from Netflix. We remember that you searched for this series. Now it is available. Guess what? I watched it, and I just finished it. So what I'm trying to tell you is think about what the customer behavior is, and you should have enough data, information, to gather that this is what the customer have looked for. This is what the customer is looking for. Don't just go email and mobile number. This is the things of the past, and people, the moment anywhere I go and I buy something and they tell me, give me your email address, and I give them wrong email address, and I give them even wrong mobile number, because I just don't want to be bombarded with these things. This is again, it's an evolution, and this is a never-ending journey. Tomorrow something crazy may come up that we never thought of, and you will be shocked that, oh my God, how did they know that's what I wanted to have? So that's I think very critical to understand.
Perfect. Mahesh, what is also kind of coming up is, do you feel, you keep meeting a few customers over across the world, do you think new roles are coming up? There are new superheroes to kind of promote the transformation exercise. Where do you see the HR aspect of things coming into place?
Definitely new roles are coming up, at least in cloud, which I'm close to. One of the significant things that's coming, because as I spoke in the morning, the cloud native plus the cloud first world, almost all the hyperscalers as well as the large organization who have invested in engineering are big time investing in what they call as the cloud center of excellences, right? The cloud center of excellences are completely new roles, which is a bit hybrid, ability to straddle across technology, business, engineering, design, right? And they are the ones, who are going to straddle, all ends of the organization and make some of this digital transformation a reality, right? FinOps, right? So for example, within cloud, it's a completely new way of procurement, right? We are now going to procure like a Uber, right, on a consumption basis. How do we do? For long, we have been, used to in a very, very different way. The ideal FinOps person is almost mythical. He needs to understand a bit of finance, understand a bit of technology, understand a bit of cloud and all that. But we are definitely seeing, roles like this completely, evolving. And a lot of them, as they were, as we used to say, we used to call T-shaped skills, right? Right now, because of the proliferation of technologies, right, and merging together of multiple things, there are the pie-shaped roles coming, right? You got to have, speciality in a lot of things, and then depth in multiple things. So CCOE is just one example I could think of.
Mr. Yusuf, your thoughts from an industry perspective?
Look, I think a lot of change has happened over the past couple of years in terms of the type of resources that are required, in terms of the way that we're doing our business. At Adni, look, we remain a very customer-centric organization, and we invest in technology that helps us to support that experience. So I think it's a good time to be in this industry. It's a good time to be investing in new technology. It's a good time to be investing in platforms that allow us to meet the needs of our customers. And I think we are very hopeful and positive in terms of the way the industry is going.
Now, Mr. Khalid, any thoughts?
I'll just add one thing. In our organization, we have something called the Innovation Challenge that we do every year. So it's not just about roles, Ritesh, it is also about the culture. In that Innovation Challenge, we encourage people to collaborate and work together and come up with ideas. And we reward the top idea. And we also make sure that this is presented as a business case and it gets approved by our ExCo members. And we budget for it and we pay for it. And we reward those people.
Perfect, thank you. Mr. Sridhar?
I would only say the biggest asset every company has is people. And we were all lucky. We were in an age, a generation wherein after completing engineering, you had a job for 20 years, 25 years. But it was not put on us to learn everything new every 6 months. Yeah. But unfortunately, this generation or this times demand a different skill set, wherein we have to rebadge our employees. So, number one, they are not only ready to cater to the needs of the new requirements, at the same time to motivate them and to encourage them to upskill themselves so they are ready for the future. So I would say while investment is required to address to the technological needs, first and foremost, every company have to accept that people are their important asset and start working on how to create a career path for them which would motivate them not only to learn new skills, but also participate in the innovation as well as excellence of the organization to give the end customer the better result. So it's a mutual responsibility.
Thank you. Mr. Imran, any last thoughts? I think we are just running out of time.
I'm fine.
Oh, wonderful. But thanks a lot for today. I think we discussed on a lot of topics today. We all kind of realized that pandemic would hopefully is gone, and then we'd have new challenges to face regarding customer experience, operational excellence, and business innovation. And I'm sure we'll all do well regarding it with the appropriate advice and words of wisdom by the panelists over here. Thank you. I hope you had a good interactive discussion. Thanks for your time. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you,
and
Ritesh.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.